Hey, what's going on everybody? Coach K here, coming at you with another video about College Football 25, and this is going to be my first impressions of the Dynasty mode. Now, I've spent the past 30 plus hours in-game playing this game mode, and let me tell you, it is chef's kiss, and I'm going to break that down a little bit more in this video, but just know that they really hit it out of the park this year. Now, my first impressions of the magnum opus of Dynasty is customization. And I kind of had to give a half review on that. You'll see a later video, us breaking down Team Builder once it's released. But I won't be able to give a full first impressions of the customization until then. But I will say this. Conference realignment and the conference rules, great. Now the cons, you're not able to edit any players overall or their likeness. But for the autogen players, you're only able to edit their names, not anything else about them. So this is kind of a double-edged sword for those of us in the Dynasty community. Because if you're a connected Dynasty player, like myself, it kind of sucks, but it's also a good thing that you won't have to deal with shady commissioners editing their players or editing your players when you're playing games with them. But that also means you won't able to personally edit any of your favorite players to be better, you know, because everyone likes to do that where they make their alma mater some OP team, but sadly you won't be able to do that in Dynasty. Now let's talk about number 2 in the priority of Dynasty, and that is recruiting, and they really hit it out of the park. I'm going to describe their recruiting system as it is in College Football Coach 25 on the PC. They took a lot of liberties from that game and a lot of ideas that they went on in that game, which is a simple, pretty much text-based game, but it is so good in this game. Recruiting is so good. It's layered enough to where it needs to be. It's not complicated enough to where you're not like having to create a multi-page Excel doc for your recruiting, but it's just enough to where it's, if you're good at it, you're able to be skilled at it, and you don't have to, you know, rely on your in-game coach's recruiting ability completely if you're good enough at recruiting. Now, I will say it is a lot of information getting thrown at you during recruiting, and it's kind of, unless you do like a deep dive of how it works yourself, it's going to take some time to get used to. Also, it sucks that you're not able to import custom classes, but I will say the custom classes that they do have already auto-genned for you are pretty damn good, and they're pretty deep, and they're realistic as hell. I really applaud them in whatever system they use to auto-generate all of their recruiting classes. Now the third pillar of Dynasty, and that's the RPG system they made. Let me just say, it's kind of weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense for the coaches they have auto-genned for each school. Like, a lot of them are kind of weird, and I don't really make sense. Like, I'll just throw one out there. UNC's coach is really overpowered for kind of no reason. They really haven't done much, and he's a CEO, and he's like one of the best archetypes in the game starting out. But other than that, it's a pretty in-depth system that's kind of variable. You can kind of run it any other way. I haven't really tweaked it enough to where I feel comfortable giving a definitive, hey, this is the best way to do it. But I will say it's kind of different. You can do a lot of different things and get your coach upgraded in a lot of different ways. And now the cons of it, it's particularly slow, which really isn't a con unless you're like a connected Dynasty like us, where like you don't know if you want to be a little faster or a little slower. So it's kind of in this middle area where it's kind of a little slow, but if I feel like I put it on fast, it goes too fast. So that's just my testing if you're gonna do a connected Dynasty. Now the last thing is the coaching carousel, and they did a pretty good job of this. I haven't really done much coaching carousel playthroughs yet, but it does seem like pretty consistently every year, if you're a decent coach, you will get an offer to move schools. So if you're doing I have to move every year challenge for your school, then it seems like a pretty good system they have made. There's a lot of openings that open up. Coaches leave for the NFL, which is pretty realistic. Coaches move teams. It's pretty fluid, and I like that a lot about this system they introduced. So that was my first impressions of College Football 25's Dynasty. Let me know down below what you guys think of its Dynasty, if you've gotten early access to it. And while you're down there, you might as well like and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more parts of our first impressions of College Football 25 by turning on post notifications as well.